Have you ever heard of a human skeleton fused with a tree, or an ancient civilization that mysteriously vanished overnight? History is full of shocking discoveries, but some are so bizarre and unexpected that they change everything we thought we knew. From a crystal skull believed to have supernatural powers to a perfectly preserved medieval knight found in a bog, these are the top 8 craziest historical discoveries that shocked everyone. And trust me, you won't believe what's at number 1. Starting off at number 8, imagine walking through the woods when suddenly you see a tree with bones sticking out of it. Sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, right? Well, this actually happened. In 2016, loggers in Ireland were cutting down a 200-year-old beech tree when they made a shocking discovery. Inside the massive roots was a human skeleton, literally tangled within the tree. Archaeologists rushed to investigate and found that the remains were from a young man who lived over 1,000 years ago. His bones suggested he died from violent wounds, possibly in battle or a deadly fight. But here's where it gets even crazier. The body was originally buried in the soil, but over centuries, the tree's massive roots grew around it, pulling the skeleton up as the tree reached for the sky. When the tree finally fell during a storm, the remains were split in half, his upper body hanging in the roots, while his legs stayed buried in the ground. A real-life fusion of nature and history, a tree growing around a forgotten warrior. Talk about an unexpected time capsule. So next time you're walking in the woods, just remember, you never know what secrets the trees might be hiding. Coming up next, at number 7, imagine finding a skull, not made of bone, but of pure crystal. Are these supernatural artifacts, ancient relics, or just really fancy paperweights? Let's dive into the mystery of the crystal skulls. These eerie, human-like skulls started popping up in the 19th and 20th centuries, made from clear quartz and other gemstones. Some say they were created by the ancient Maya or Aztecs. Others claim they're alien artifacts with mystical powers. One of the most famous skulls, the Mitchell-Hedges skull, was supposedly found in the 1920s in Belize by explorer F.A. Mitchell-Hedges. According to legend, it was perfectly carved, with no modern tools. Scientists were baffled. How could an ancient civilization create something so precise? Then, the wild theories began. Some believe these skulls hold the secrets of the universe, can store consciousness, or even grant psychic abilities. Indiana Jones even made a whole movie about them. But here's the twist. Modern tests revealed most skulls were likely made in the 19th century with European tools. That means they're not ancient, and the stories probably fake. So are they supernatural, or just one of history's greatest hoaxes? Whatever the truth, the crystal skulls remain one of the craziest and most mysterious discoveries ever. What do you think? Ancient relics, alien gifts, or just a really expensive tourist scam? Next up at number 6, imagine trekking through a scorching desert, nothing but sand for miles, and then, bam, you stumble upon a ship, not a tiny boat, but a full-on shipwreck in the middle of the desert. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what explorers claim to have found deep in California's desert. The legend? A Spanish galleon, supposedly lost over 300 years ago, filled with treasure. According to stories, the ship was part of a Spanish fleet sailing up the Gulf of California. But then something bizarre happened. An earthquake? A tidal wave? No one knows for sure. But somehow the sea receded, stranding the ship hundreds of miles inland. For centuries, rumors spread of a lost ship buried beneath the desert sands. Some even say it belonged to the legendary pirate Thomas Cavendish, who looted Spanish treasure ships. In the 1800s, a prospector named Charlie Klusker claimed he actually found the ship, its hull sticking out of the dunes. He even reported seeing gold, but when he went back, the ship was gone, swallowed by the sands. To this day, treasure hunters still search for the lost galleon. Was it real, a mirage, or one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries? Up next at number 5, imagine waking up one morning and realizing your entire city is just gone. Sounds like a legend, right? But this actually happened. One of the greatest mysteries in history, a lost city that vanished overnight. One day, people were living their normal lives. The next, poof, nothing left but ruins and whispers of what once was. We're talking about the ancient city of Thonis Heraclean, Egypt's once great gateway to the Mediterranean. It was a bustling metropolis, filled with towering statues, grand temples, and enough gold to make a pirate jealous. But around 1200 years ago, it just disappeared. No warnings, no survivors, just gone. For centuries, people thought it was just a myth, a story passed down through time, like Atlantis. Then, in the year 2000, explorers searching off Egypt's coast made one of the craziest discoveries in history. Beneath 30 feet of water, they found massive statues, ancient temples, and even shipwrecks, all perfectly preserved. The city of Thonis Heraclean was real, but how did it vanish? Turns out, Mother Nature pulled off the ultimate disappearing act. A combination of earthquakes, rising sea levels, and unstable ground caused the entire city to sink into the sea overnight. One minute, a thriving civilization. The next, an underwater ghost town. Today, archaeologists are still uncovering its secrets. Sunken statues, treasure-filled temples, even ancient texts frozen frozen in time. It's like a real-life Atlantis, but this one, 100% real. So next time someone tells you lost cities are just myths, remind them, history is full of surprises, and some of the craziest stories actually happened. Halfway there. At number 4, imagine stumbling upon a medieval knight, perfectly preserved in a bog, with his mouth frozen in a scream. That's exactly what happened when researchers in Europe pulled a centuries-old skeleton from the murky depths of a peat bog. And trust me, this discovery was insane. This poor knight wasn't just any warrior. His armor, sword, and skeletal structure suggested he was a high-ranking medieval fighter. But what really freaked people out? His face, that haunting, open-mouthed scream. So how did he end up like this? One theory, he fell into the bog while still alive. Medieval battlefields were brutal, and wounded knights sometimes crawled to safety, only to find themselves trapped in quicksand-like mud. Another theory, he was executed and dumped there, a victim of political betrayal. Knights were notorious for backstabbing, literally. But the real twist? Bogs naturally preserve bodies for centuries. No oxygen, no bacteria, just perfectly mummified history waiting to be uncovered. And that terrifying scream? Probably just his jaw dropping open over time. But hey, doesn't make it any less creepy. One thing's for sure, this screaming knight will haunt history books forever. Up next at number 3, imagine stumbling upon a cave filled with giant human skeletons. Sounds like something out of a fantasy movie, right? But this is one of the craziest discoveries in history. Deep in the deserts of Nevada, legend tells of a mysterious race of red-haired giants that once roamed the land. The local Paiute tribe called them the Sitka, a group of ferocious warriors said to be over 10 feet tall. Fast forward to the early 20th century, miners digging in Lovelock Cave made a shocking discovery. Massive bones, oversized skulls, and ancient artifacts buried deep inside. Could this be proof the giants were real? Even crazier, the Paiute legend claims their ancestors trapped these giants inside the cave and set it on fire, wiping them out forever. And when archaeologists later explored the site, they found charred bones, broken weapons, and tools that didn't match the typical Native American style. But here's where things get weird. While some scientists dismiss the discovery as a mix-up or exaggeration, others believe the Lovelock Cave hides secrets that mainstream history refuses to accept. Could an ancient race of giants have really existed? Or is it just another great mystery lost to time? Coming up next at number 2, did scientists really discover an ancient pyramid in Antarctica? In 2016, satellite images revealed a bizarre pyramid-shaped structure rising from the frozen wasteland. It looked unnervingly similar to the pyramids of Egypt. But how is that possible? Some believe it's evidence of an ancient civilization that existed before Antarctica was covered in ice. Could it be proof that humans, or something else, once lived there thousands of years ago? Others say it's just a natural mountain shaped by erosion. But here's the crazy part. Antarctica wasn't always frozen. Scientists confirm it was once covered in forests and flowing rivers. So could an ancient culture have built something there long before history books tell us? Even stranger, ancient maps, like the Peary Race map from 1513, show Antarctica without ice, long before modern technology could have mapped it. Is this pyramid a forgotten relic of the past, a natural phenomenon, or something more mysterious? What do you think? At last but not least, imagine climbing a mountain and finding a doorway carved into solid rock. A doorway that leads to where? This isn't fantasy, it's real. High in the mountains of Peru, explorers discovered something mind-blowing. Puerta de Hayumarca, also known as the Gate of the Gods. This massive stone structure, perfectly carved into the mountainside, doesn't open, at least not physically. But according to legend, it's not just a door, it's a portal to another world. Ancient stories say Incan priests had a magical key, a golden disc that could activate the gateway, allowing them to step into a realm beyond time. Some believe it led to the land of the gods. But here's where it gets weird. Locals say travelers still see strange lights and figures around the doorway at night. Some claim they've even felt a powerful energy just by touching the stone. Did ancient civilizations have access to interdimensional travel? Is the doorway still waiting for the right key? Or did someone already use it and never return? What do you think? Would you step through this mysterious doorway? Let me know in the comments.